So this is the boot process, what I was discussing earlier. Just by typing the reload command on the switch or the router, you will get something kind of this thing. Proceed with the reload and you will say yes. And then you will go through these things. So basically, it is initializing flash. And I told you what is flash. Flash is where our operating system is. So on a reload, it will first of all initialize the flash. It will check whether I have valid operating system exists or no. Once it is done, you can see the done initializing flash. So it means it has the valid flash. After that, yeah.
And it tells you where it is. Like if you look at, like in this example, flash slash and that the whole number of that image.bin file, right?
Yes.
Right, Kamran?
Yes, here it is.
There you go. So that is where this is pulling this information, crystal and Hefe, from that flash. And on the top, it gives you that version number of that. So you can find out, like if you turn on the brand new switch like that and it turns on and it's on the screen, by looking at this, you can know that, okay, I'm using this image, and you can search that specific image in Cisco documentation and the version right there on the top. So you would know something about your switch that you have bought or you have, you're configuring then. Because it could come with like a hard name of version, this is this, but the images names are different, right, Kamran?
Yes.
So you'll have to go into that switch and you have to then come in here to understand, okay, what are we using on the switch?
So as we discussed earlier, the flash will have the operating system. Okay. So once you reloaded your computer, what it's going to do? It will look for the operating system and where that operating system is in the flash. So that's why it is initializing flash, and see it is written 81 files, 3 directories. So it's just going through into those directories to find out the valid operating system, which it find out here. Okay. After that, now it is booting from flash. Now it in this process, it's just initializing whether it is valid or not operating system. Just like in case of Windows, let's suppose if the Windows is corrupt but the files are there, it will initialize, but it will not boot from that hard disk drive. So it initialize here. Now it find out that the operating system was valid operating system. Now it is going to go through the booting process. So this is the pound symbol. If you see this symbol, it means this is good. This is good identification that this is a valid operating system or valid Windows operating system, in other words. Opposed to that, if we have this symbol like this and it is going on, it means it couldn't find out the valid operating system, and you have some issues, compatibility issues, or some corrupt, maybe this bin file has been corrupted. Okay. And as you can see, it is uncompressing. What does it mean? It means basically it is basically this iOS image is compressed in a compressed format. After that, it is gonna uncompress this file and will copy this into the RAM. Why? Because flash is not fast as compared to the RAM. RAM has a very fast speed as compared to the flash. That's why it is loading the iOS image from the flash, but it is copying that image into the RAM. So we can have very good access. We can run every commands very quickly. That is the reason it will copy these iOS images to the RAM temporarily.
So Kamran, if I have a question, do we
Yeah.
have a GUI version of this?
Sorry?
Do we have like a graphical interface for this? Which
Yes,
I
we
don't know.
have. Yeah,
I
we
mean,
have.
I haven't like to well, for have a usually in my experience, I never worked on a GUI for startup. Maybe Kamran might have done that.
Yes. Uh, I think HEFA is scared, yeah. But that's why I'm HEFA. I'm putting a lot of stress that get familiar with the console command line. Why we use command line? Because this is very quick. We can very quickly initialize everything. We can very quickly do the troubleshooting. In a graphical mode, you have to go through everything click by click and go inside that menu, and it is so time consuming.
Yeah. So normally the answer is that we don't do this. We don't even use the GUI for this type of stuff. Now in modern networking, because it's using a lot of cloud networking, and these Cisco devices are also now connected to some type of cloud networking. Yes, there are a lot of portals. They're having a lot of these GUI configuration for ports and everything like that. That's okay. But normally, if you're working for as a network engineer and you got a switch like that, it's very unlikely, highly unlikely that you're going to get some kind of desktop, the graphical interface like this.
Yes,
You'll have to work with
exactly.
this type of stuff.
So when we talk about the, for example, ASA firewalls or any other firewalls, we will be using STM, which is Security Device Manager, as a GUI. And if we are talking about the router, the switches, now they have changed to CGP, Cisco configuration. Basically, this has to do with CGP, Cisco Configuration Professional. So this is how you can access uh, the graphical user interface of this router or the switch. But the problem is everything, provisioning, initialization, everything you are going to do from your command line, first of all. You will not get this GUI at first stage. Then this is a power on self-test. As I told you, this is done from what? ROM. ROM has this POST concept. So it will go through these all things. As I told you earlier, it will check the motherboard. It will check some Ethernet controllers. As is it written? It is written. It is passed. Okay. Then it will go through these motherboard assemblies, supply part, power supplies, motherboards, and these all things one by one, just to make sure all memory components, all devices, everything, all hardware components on your Cisco switches and the routers are working fine. Then only it is going to boot or give you the iOS command line. Otherwise, it will give you error and it will not proceed unless until you will fix that issue. So that thing is called as boot process.
If is saying that how long does it take for the boot process if there's no issue?
Like 1 minute or even within 1 minute.
Yeah, and if it gets stuck, hey, that's what you do. Like you would connect it to the console cable, you'll restart it, and you are going to see where is it stuck. And sometimes it gives you some kind of codes. Then you do some kind of research. Okay, I'm getting this code error. Then I'm going to go and research to fix it. Sometimes it doesn't do that. It just gets stuck, hung, right? It could be an issue with bad hardware or whatever it is. Maybe an image that is corrupted. There's a lot of issues that can happen at this point. Usually it doesn't, because if you look at it, companies run these devices for years. I'd say 6 years, 7 years, right, Kamran?
Yeah, it's
And
running deep. Yeah.
really, it's like it's very solid. But if there's an issue like that, then you'll have to come over here and kind of check it. And I think one of my videos on YouTube, I have actually covered this like, when a router goes down, what do you do?
Yeah. So these are very important concepts. Just like HIPAA, not confused really. I don't know because if you have use normal CPUs, if you just power on, you will see these things, the same things, but in a fraction of second, it will be skipped and you will see Windows operating system. So this is the same concept. It will go through. It will load the operating system from the flash. Then it will go through the boot process. Same concept. And if even in your CPU environment, if RAM is missing, okay, you will be stuck at this kind of console, and it will mention that the RAM is missing or the fan is corrupt or something like that. So you need to replace that component, and then it will work. So the thing is, now we have everything ready. Now we want to load the operating system. As I said earlier, it took the operating system or the Windows, in case of Microsoft Windows, from hard disk, and in case of router switches, it will take this operating system from flash memory. So this is the first thing it is going to do. So it is written, after router or the switch passes the post, it will look for a valid iOS image. So the router/switch has 3 sources from which it can load iOS image. So it has 3 sources it is going to load iOS image from. The first thing is flash memory. Let's suppose flash memory is missing. Then it will search into the TFTP server. And just don't confuse yourself with the TFTP like, it's a full-blown server somewhere. No, just in Windows 7, you can install this software name as TFTPD64. Maybe it will be having like 1 MB of size, maybe hardly. Just install this one and it will run on your Windows 7, which will have IP. Let's suppose this Windows machine has IP 10. I will correlate with this one, 10.1.10.100. Okay, and then this Windows machine will be connected to the switch, and which has IP 10.1.10. Let's say 50. And just let me change this one to 20. Okay, so we are just mentioning this is our TFTP server address, and from the switch we will just mention where our TFTP server is sitting, which is 10.1.10.120, which is 120, sorry. And what is it? It is having, if you have very good vision, you can see C2 600 advanced, something like that. This is the same bin file I was talking. Just a minute, if I can take you back to the slide. This is the same thing here. Before it was loading from the flash, but now I told the switch flash is not available. You have to go to the TFTP server. So that's why now on the switch, I have told you have to go to this server, which is on 10.1.10.120 IP, and there is your operating system and you can load from.
And also, think about this in this scenario, Hefa and Christelle. Let's say you have an older image and now you want to upgrade it with the new one, or you want to replace it with the new one. You would also use this type of method, right, Kamran?
Yeah.
You to get it, because you went on
Yeah.
Cisco, you went into the Cisco website, you downloaded the operating system. Let's say like in your case, you guys are so used to Windows. You download Windows 10, and now you want to basically upload that operating system using some type of network type of capability, right? You guys have used that WDS and network deployments. You have done that. It's exactly the same thing. The TFTP server is like it's like portable tools. A lot of people use this on the fly too. When we work with engineers, they may just come and say, "Hey, your laptop does the laptop have TFTP server? If not, can you download this?" They'll tell you specifically to download what. But now you're the engineer. I think at this point, you guys should kind of like practice this on your own machines or your own network. Try to find some TFTP servers. Try to see if you guys can connect to it. Things like that will make it really easy for you to understand this concept.
Yeah. So another troubleshooting tool tip is that in a production environment, we usually use TFTP server instead of flash memory. Why? Because we directly load our operating system from TFTP server first to see whether this is compatible to my switch or no. Sometime maybe this Windows, not Windows, this iOS image is corrupt. Maybe it has some hashing issues. Maybe it could have some compatibility issues. Maybe it has some kind of bug in that operating system. So what will happen when the switch will load this operating system from this TFTP server? It is gonna tell me that I'm not going to load because it is corrupted. So what I will do, I will quickly jump onto my old flash concept, and I will tell my switch load from flash. Okay, so this is a lifesaver as well. Any confusion? I'm sure that you will be little confused, but let me tell you, once you will go through twice, thrice, you will see these are just like the environment we have in our Windows environment, just like it is, uh, very similar to that. And then in the last, we have this ROM. If I give you the same analogy in a Windows operating system, let's say if your main operating system is corrupt, or even if you have lost the password, what you gonna do? Or your operating system is corrupt, it has kind of issues. So what is the alternate of that Windows operating system? Where you gonna go? If anyone can answer, Danish, if you can, on behalf of them, if you can answer.
Sorry, Kamran, I'm not in a position to hear more half of it now. So
Okay.
You guys can continue.
Okay, that's fine. So that is if you remember the safe mode, we usually press the F5 key to go into the Windows safe mode. So this is the same concept. If we don't have operating system in a flash memory, if we don't have even the TFTP server, then the last option that router and the switches come up with a ROM. And you will find some kind of ROM mode, which is same like a safe mode in Windows. So which is having a little mini iOS. It has iOS, but a mini iOS, which is not a full-blown operating system. And this is just for the troubleshooting purpose. That's it.
And I think I made a video on this as well. So I will make a pointer to myself that I will share a video with you guys. If not, then I will probably show some kind of online video to show you guys how to reset that. I believe I have done this in my own basic training.
Okay, good. Okay, then just like I said earlier, after finding a valid iOS, now it will go through the configuration file. It will search for the configuration files, which is known as startup configuration. If we have already configured or provisioned our switches or router, you will not see this startup configuration, which is nothing but just like a wizard. So this is just like the initial configuration. If we have not configured our router or the switches, they will bring us this system configuration dialog, which is saying, would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? And we will hit yes. And then it will take us to some like a wizard, like what is the IP you want your device to have? What is the name of your device you want to have? What is the date setting? Something like that, okay? So it will also search for this startup configuration file, just like iOS image, and it will go through these things. First, it will try to find out that thing in NVRAM. If it finds, then that is good. It will start running directly, and you will get this kind of information. If NVRAM is not available, then it will go to the TFTP server again. And even if the TFTP server is not there, then it will go through the system configuration dialog wizard, and we will get this system configuration dialog wizard at the end, where you can provide the same thing I told you, the IP configuration, the name, and everything. But if you have already configured your switch, these settings like IP or the name, it will just hit NVRAM and we will go directly into that iOS mode. Okay, so it will not go through this TFTP server or this system configuration dialog wizard if we have already provisioned our switches or the routers. This dialog,
that's just like when you install an operating system. Remember in the beginning, it asked you for what operating system do you want to pick, Windows 2012 or data center, whatever. Those initial configuration we're talking about is almost the same thing. You get this dialog and then you get to say yes or no, and most likely you're going to say no because you want to configure it, right, Kamran?
Yes. Okay, I come again once more. Every device have some kind of configuration, okay, initially. If that is not exist, okay, we will hit this third thing, that is system configuration dialog. So basically it will look first of all that startup configuration or initial configuration in NVRAM. If it finds, it will go directly to the console of iOS. And then we can further do configuration, whatever we want to. If it doesn't find that kind of configuration, the provisioning basically, then it will go to the TFTP server to look that configuration. If it don't find that configuration, then it will hit at end this system configuration dialog where we will do the initial provisioning.